today's occasion we are going to talk about one interesting topic, namely culture and also critical thinking. Right, Mr. Fani?
Yes, Mr. Alda.
Hello, good students. Welcome back to the East channel.
Hey.
Mr. Alda is here and I am accompanied by my friends.
My name is Mr. Fani. Yeah.
Alright, so in this video, in today's occasion, we are going to talk about one interesting topic, namely culture and also critical thinking. Right, Mr. Fani?
Yes, Mr. Alda. So today we are gonna talk about how is the correlation, or how do we use critical thinking to understand culture. And maybe the big question for this topic is it enough for language learners? Is it enough to be able to speak the language without understanding the culture?
Yes, so that's our main topic today. Learning language means we also learn the culture of that language. So yeah, without any further ado, let's get started.
Okay.
Alright, so let's begin to talk about the culture itself.
Yeah.
What is culture?
That's it. Okay. Right, culture. I think, before, let's just talk about the culture from your perspective first.
My perspective?
Yeah. What do you think?
Yeah, culture is ways of life.
Ways of life.
Yeah.
Okay.
Something we always do every single day, that's our culture.
Yes, I agree that culture is a ways of life, but I think it's more than just ways of life.
Okay.
Culture, involves. Culture means what we think, what we do. Not just what we think, not ways of life. What we think, what we do, and what we make. So there is our perspective, and then product, and also behavior.
So culture is a very big umbrella.
Yes.
And under this umbrella there are many things.
Yeah.
All right.
So
interesting.
Any group, whether it is small or big group, which has if they have those three things like do, make, and behave, so that's considered culture.
Okay. All right. So I do believe every single individual also will have that one.
Yes. So yeah, there is. I think there is an academic term called, cultural being.
Okay.
It means every individual, every human in the world contributes to make a culture.
Okay. Am I considered as cultural beings too?
Yes.
Okay.
All of us. I mean, each of us.
Oh, okay.
Is considered cultural being.
All right.
Yep. And then talking about this, that's why culture can have like maybe two types of culture.
Okay.
Normally we heard or we learn culture, we know culture is just about, country, large scale,
Okay.
big scale, country to country, right? Like maybe Indonesia,
Malaysia, Singapore.
with Malaysia, Singapore, with Japan, so large scale. But culture actually has a subculture. So in a large scale, in a large culture, there is a small cultures. Okay. So it is like a group, maybe a gang. Gang.
Okay.
Maybe you have a gang in your school. Yeah. So that's actually culture, because the point of the culture is, you share the same thing, like the same perspective, the same product, and the same behavior. So as long as you cover three things, so that's considered culture. So that's why this is actually culture, because our perspective is the same to make our students, enjoy to learn.
Okay. And fluent in English, right?
The product is the same. What's the product? Maybe a lesson plan.
Yes.
Maybe
learning media.
Learning medias,
And
that's
language games and
language
many more.
games and many more. Language activities, and also what we do, behavior is also the same, teaching.
Yeah.
So that's why we are considered culture. So culture, the microculture that we are in can affect our identity as a cultural being.
Okay. All right. So that's a very complex thing. Can you explain again what do we mean about microculture?
Microculture.
You talked about that previously. Can you explain it?
Yeah. So as we talk about, like, individual is cultural being.
Okay.
So every individual contributes to the same thing, so that creates a microculture.
Okay, so let me infer. So there are two kind of culture. The first one is microculture.
Yeah, micro.
The small one.
Oh, the small one.
Is that
Yeah,
correct?
Micro.
Micro is the small one, and then the bigger one is macro.
Yeah.
Okay.
So family is a culture, and also
And it belongs to micro
micro. Yes.
because it is a group of people.
Yes. Group
who
of people.
share the same goal and the
same
same
goal.
target and behavior. Okay.
Even classroom is a culture too.
Okay.
Yes. And yeah, a lot of examples. Right. That's it.
All right. So that's culture,
Culture.
and then hopefully it is clear. So there are two kinds of culture. The first one is micro and macro,
Okay.
and then what
And-
else?
yeah.
We are going to talk about.
So, right. Maybe we're talking about macroculture now. In macroculture, because we share the same perspective, we share the same behavior, we share the same product. So, what we think also the same, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we think it's not the same. So, there is, in Indonesia, people do not directly say what they think.
Yeah.
They prefer to give a clue when they are talking or when they are interacting with people.
Sometimes.
So not directly, right?
Yeah.
No, most of them. Most of us. Like,
But I personally, I will say directly what I want.
okay. But we are talking about general.
Okay.
In general.
Maybe women, they have many.
Maybe women. Yeah. All right. Yeah.
Right.
Maybe women. So,
One word can mean various, terserah. Up to you. When women say that, it can mean 1,000 things.
yeah. So academicians, or maybe a scientist, social scientists, they name that culture as high context culture.
High context culture.
When you talk or when you interact with other people, but you don't say what you mean, you just give maybe what we call this
The code.
Yeah, codes. Yeah.
We learned that in pragmatics anyway.
Oh yeah.
The name is implication. When the meaning is not literal, but beyond the literal meanings. We talk about that in the previous videos with
cool.
Mr. Nelan.
Okay.
Right?
Okay. So that's called high context culture.
High context culture.
Okay. There is also there's also low context culture.
Low context culture.
Low context culture is the opposite. So you say it directly.
So it is exactly
if
like
you think,
literal meaning.
If you think, for example, what is that? If you think there's something that you don't like, so you say it directly.
If you think A, you say A.
If you think A, you say A.
Okay.
So that's low context culture.
Low context culture.
Most of the countries that share low context cultures are native speakers, English native speakers, like UK, USA. So
they're more direct.
Yeah, they're more direct. When they.
How about us, Indonesia?
I think we perform high context culture.
So we are not too direct.
Yeah, because generally we don't, gak enakan something, right?
That's it.
So kita nggak.
The feeling of gak enakan.
Yeah, feeling of gak enakan.
Yeah.
But in other cultures like in USA and UK, which perform low context culture, they don't think that's good thing. That they don't think that's effective when communicating. Yeah. There's no such a thing called gak enakan. in
Yeah.
their culture, in low context culture.
Because we have what is it? Yeah,
Yeah.
we are Eastern.
Yeah, it's
The
true.
culture is gak enakan is part of our life.
Yeah, that's why it's we are more collective than them. So
Yes, agree.
yeah,
Agree, yes.
because our culture, next type of culture maybe. So first one is like
Macro, the
yeah,
micro.
macro. That's the general,
Uh-huh.
and then
What is the next?
it's a collective and individualism.
Oh, okay.
So low context culture tends to be individual,
Okay.
and high context culture tends to be collective.
Oh, okay.
So we prefer, we put group as our priority. So that's why we prefer not to we prefer not to hurt
Other people's
yeah,
feeling. Okay.
by by not saying directly.
Uh-huh. Alright. That's kind of
So, yeah.
interesting. That's new also for me. Alright, so high what
High
is it?
context
High
culture
context
and low context
and low
culture.
context culture. Okay.
That's why I think
Which one is better, Amy?
that's good questions.